Jon Jones is a professional mixed martial artist born on July 19, 1987, in Rochester, New York. He is widely considered one of the greatest fighters of all time. However, his career has been marked by several controversies related to drug test failures, legal issues, and personal conduct. Before going into some of the controversy which has plagued Jones throughout his career, it is impossible to glaze over his staggering success inside the octagon. Jones is widely considered one of the greatest fighters in UFC history, thanks to his impressive record of wins and achievements in the octagon. Jones made his UFC debut in 2008 and quickly established himself as a dominant force in the light heavyweight division. He became the youngest champion in UFC history in 2011 by defeating Mauricio Rua at UFC 128, and went on to defend his title 8 times, tying the record for most consecutive title defenses in UFC light heavyweight history. Some of his notable victories during this time include wins over former champions Quinton Jackson, Lyoto Machida, Vitor Belfort, and Rashad Evans. After a hiatus from the sport due to personal issues, Jones returned to the octagon in 2018 and defeated Alexander Gustafsson to reclaim the light heavyweight title. In 2019, he fought former heavyweight champion, Daniel Cormier, in a rematch at UFC 214. The bout was ruled a no contest, but the world saw Jones land a head kick before going on to finish Cormier in brutal fashion. His professional record in the UFC stands at 26 wins, 1 loss, and 1 no contest, making him one of the most accomplished fighters in the sport's history. Even the 1 loss was from a fight where he was dominating only to be disqualified for using downward elbows. Jones can therefore lay claim to being undefeated in a brutally unforgiving sport, having competed at the highest level for in excess of 10 years. But alas, Jon is not only known for his triumph, he is also known for a string of controversies and run-ins with the law. Strap in for a timeline of his legal, personal and professional difficulties. We will start in May 2012 when Jones was arrested for driving under the influence after crashing his Bentley into a utility pole in Binghamton, New York. He pleaded guilty to the charge and was sentenced to a fine and community service. In April 2015, Jones was involved in a hit-and-run accident in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He crashed his car into a vehicle driven by a pregnant woman, breaking her arm, and fled the scene on foot. He turned himself into the police the next day and was charged with leaving the scene of an accident involving death or personal injuries. He later pleaded guilty to the charge and was sentenced to 18 months of supervised probation, community service, and anger management classes. In December 2014, Jones tested positive for cocaine metabolites in a pre-fight drug test for his UFC 182 bout against Daniel Cormier. He claimed that he had only used the drug once and did not have a drug addiction problem. In 2016, Jones was removed from the UFC 200 card after testing positive for 2 banned substances, clomiphene, and letrozole. He claimed that he had taken an over-the-counter supplement that was contaminated with the substances, but he was suspended for 1 year by the United States Anti-Doping Agency, USADA. In March 2016, Jones was pulled over by police in Albuquerque for allegedly drag racing. He was cited for multiple traffic violations, including driving without a license and modified exhaust, and his car was towed. In July 2017, as mentioned earlier, Jones defeated Cormier to reclaim the UFC light heavyweight championship. However, he tested positive for the steroid turinabol in a pre-fight drug test and was stripped of the title. Jones again claimed that he did not knowingly take the substance and blamed a tainted supplement. The California State Athletic Commission, CSAC, overturned his victory and suspended him for 1 year. In December 2018, Jones defeated Alexander Gustafsson at UFC 232 to regain the light heavyweight title. However, he tested positive for picograms of turinabol in a pre-fight drug test. This led to a controversy over whether the picograms were remnants from his previous positive test or whether he had taken the substance again. The U.S. Anti-Doping Agency and the UFC stood by Jones, claiming that the picograms were a residual effect of his previous positive test and did not represent a new violation. The Nevada State Athletic Commission, NSAC, granted him a license to fight in the state, and he was allowed to compete. Next, in July 2019, Jones was charged with battery after allegedly slapping a cocktail waitress in a strip club in Albuquerque. He pleaded no contest to the charge and was ordered to undergo anger management classes. After the July 2019 MMA Awards, Jones and his wife, Jessie Moses, got into an argument after the event, and it escalated to the point where she fled the hotel room they were staying in and hid under a car in the parking lot. She reportedly called the police and told them that Jones had been drinking and was being aggressive towards her. When the police arrived, they found Jones pacing around the hotel room and described him as being cooperative. The police noted that there was no physical violence involved and that both Jones and his wife appeared to be under the influence of alcohol. No charges were made. Jones later issued a statement on social media apologizing for the incident and stating that he and his wife had worked things out. Despite working on their troubles in September 2019, Jones was accused of domestic violence by his wife, Jessie. She posted a message on Instagram accusing him of being unfaithful and physically abusing her. Jones denied the allegations, and no charges were filed, but the incident raised concerns about his personal life and behavior outside of the octagon. Jones has always maintained his innocence in all of the drug test failure cases and has repeatedly claimed that he is a clean athlete. However, his repeated drug test failures and legal troubles have cast a long shadow over his legacy and how he will be viewed by fans upon retirement. In conclusion, Jon Jones is a polarizing figure in the world of MMA. He is undoubtedly one of the greatest fighters of all time, but his career has been plagued by controversies and troubles with the law and athletic commissions. His legacy remains a topic of debate among MMA fans and experts, with some viewing him as a great champion and others as a flawed and tarnished figure. Perhaps Dana White said it best describing him as the greatest talent ever, but the biggest screw-up ever. Thanks for watching.